So this time what we're doing is we are going to magnetize the head of a Gretel. Now, Gretel heads are vinyl, so they kind of don't work like a regular resin would. It's got this internal flap that forces it to stay in place. Now, we're going to be using Apoxy Sculpt and a set of rare earth magnets to make it easier to get in and out of this head. So, what we first have to do is eliminate this part. So, we're going to get out our handy-dandy little Exacto knife, and if you're not quite sure of what you're doing, please get supervision because I don't want anyone to get hurt. And we just kind of go in and start slicing carefully through the vinyl. As you don't want to cut too much off, because you could end up ruining your head cap. I'm going relatively quickly because I've done a couple of these, but you'll want to pay attention to what you're doing. And there. Now you can see that it still fits on the head, but it won't really stay, which is why we bring in the Apoxy Sculpt. Now, we're going to attach it into the head itself first, so that'll make it easier to attach the head cap to the head later. Now, Apoxy Sculpt is a two-part compound. And as you can see, I've used a good bit of it. Just kind of go ahead, grab out two globs that are about the same size. And you kind of eyeball it, make sure you've got something that'll work. And then you go ahead and mix them together. Go ahead and you mix it good. Now that it's thoroughly mixed, split it. You go ahead and you start attaching it onto the head, more or less where a magnet would go on a resin ball. Grab one of your magnets and plunk it in. Grab the second one. And kind of just go ahead and put it into the head like so. Grab your next magnet. Push it in. So now you've got the first two magnets in your head. Go ahead and set it aside for whatever the drying time is, which is usually about 2 hours. And I will use the magic of video editing to come back to this in 2 hours so that then I can apply the magnets into the top of the head. Okay. Okay, so now that these guys are nice and set, we can go ahead and see about getting the second set of magnets put in. If we just go ahead and apply the epoxy and then put it on, the epoxy will stick to the other set of epoxy and your entire head will be one solid piece. So we don't do that, we get Saran Wrap and use that as a protective layer. And as soon as I can get it off the roll, you just go ahead and you wrap the head like so. And again, go ahead and take about a small amount of epoxy. Make sure each one is about the same size and thoroughly mixed. And once it's fully mixed, split into two separate pieces. Set one aside. More or less stick your glob in where it needs to go. And then we figure out what the polarity of the magnet is. Doing it like this so that when we put the cap on, the magnets will stay in the epoxy and will automatically adjust themselves to the ones that are already sitting in there. So, not the cleanest application, but more or less settle it to where you want it to be. And again, you let it sit and wait. Okay, so now that enough time has passed, the epoxy on the top side has finished setting. And I've gone ahead and I've put eyes into the doll, but as you can see, it pretty much now just will jump into place. The next step is obviously just going ahead and attaching it to the doll, but overall this is essentially just how you magnetize the head cap. If they fall out, I would suggest going ahead and crazy gluing them back into place because, you know, you're really not going to see the inside of the head, and it doesn't really matter all that much what it looks like. So that's how you put magnets onto a Gretel head. Thank you for watching.